transportation.
Okay, it's an official term. Okay, I'm calling this meeting of the Transportation Committee to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chaplin. Here. Covert. Here. Evans. Here. Ozog.
Here.
Tornatori.
Here.
Say.
Here.
Okay, first off, we have staff recognitions. So if you'd all like to come forward up here, we are going to recognize Mr. Gardley and Mr. LaCroix, 25 years and 15 years. Okay. Stand over here.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This morning, we want to recognize a couple of our staff from our maintenance division. Number one or first, Brian Gardley. Brian has worked for the Division of Transportation for 25 years. He's one of our vehicle maintenance crew leaders in charge of our shop's automotive side. Brian is responsible for the daily maintenance of approximately 500 county-owned vehicles. He has enjoyed working on some of the old SWAT team vehicles and watching the sheriff's K9 dogs train around our shop. Congratulations, Brian. And Mike LaCroix. Mike has been with the DOT for 15 years. He's a vehicle maintenance crew leader for our heavy equipment section of the shop. He began as a summer intern in 2009 and was quickly hired on full-time as a heavy equipment mechanic, and now oversees all repairs and daily maintenance of DOT's fleet, including our fleet of snowplows, paving equipment, and all other various pieces of machinery we use to keep the DOT roads in a state of good repair. Mike enjoys welding, metal fabrication. He also loves the challenge of diagnosing and repairing today's electrical systems. Importantly, Mike takes a lot of pride in mentoring his mechanics and making them feel comfortable if they have questions. Congratulations.
Gentlemen, we're going to do a picture. That's what we do here.
Oh, sorry.
Over this way.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, here we are.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Smiling chair, or do you smiling three?
And
I
now,
guess two smile.
now, gentlemen, back to work.
See you.
You are welcome to stay if you want to.
I would leave, yeah.
Goodbye, thank you.
That'd be exciting.
Okay, I'm sorry, chair remarks. I don't have any right now. Public comment. Don't have none, okay. All right, next I move to approve the minutes of our Tuesday,
Second.
August 6th meeting. Second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And I also apologize, I was not well that day, and I'm now going to welcome Steve again. Steve Travia is our new director, and we're very happy to have you here. And I think I've said welcome 10 times in the last few weeks, but I really mean it, and we're very happy you're here. So, okay. Next, I'm going to move on to item 7A. I move for approval of 24-2243. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Patson Incorporated, doing business as Trans Chicago Truck Group, to furnish and deliver Freightliner repair and replacement parts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $15,000 per renewal option under bid award 2364 DOTRE, first of 3 options to renew. I have a second. Any comments, questions? Okay, we need to do roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to turn this over to Steve, and he's going to talk about the next 3 items.
Thank you, Chair Ozog. In front of you, you should have 2 exhibits, one entitled Exhibit 7B and one entitled Exhibit 8A. The next 3 items on today's agenda deal with the ongoing project regarding the East Branch DuPage River Trail. The focus of the project is a 4-mile stretch from the Great Western Trail on the north, across the Illinois Prairie Path, and continuing south to Illinois 56 through Glen Ellen and unincorporated DuPage County. We felt that these items might become a little confusing since there's 3 of them in a row, and we wanted to share a brief explanation and hopefully make that clearer. If you reference the handout titled Exhibit 7B, this represents the northern segment of the corridor. The agenda item is for a new contract to complete Phase 1 preliminary engineering between the Great Western Trail and the Illinois Prairie Path. One focus of this particular contract is engineering the trails crossing under the Union Pacific Railroad. This contract has an advantage in that it would allow separation from the larger study, potentially being able to be moved forward and designed towards construction in a more expeditious timeframe. Exhibit 8A represents the southern part of this project from the Illinois Prairie Path to Route 56. The original funding provided by Congressman Caston is included in this contract. The item amends the original $1.5 million contract with our consultant, adding another $126,000 to the contract to bring on a public relations and communications firm as a subconsultant. Due to the sensitive issues of the alignment of the proposed trail, tasks will include stakeholder outreach, public involvement, and moderation of discussions to ensure consistent messaging. And then finally, item 9A on the agenda amends our agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation to add this $126,000. Thank you.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from these three items.
you are recused
Thank you.
and excused.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, do we have any discussion about any of these issues, or shall I go issue by issue or item by item? I think I'll do item by item then. Okay, I move for approval of DTP 004624. Recommendation for the approval of contract to Christopher Burke Engineering
Second.
for professional Phase 1 engineering services Part B for improvements along the East Branch DuPage River Trail from St. Charles Road to the Illinois Prairie Path for a contract total not to exceed $539,499. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with the Local Government Professional Services Selection Act. I have a second. Any discussion about this? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, I move for approval of 242135. This is an amendment. It's issued to Christopher B. Burke Engineering for professional preliminary engineering services along the East Branch DuPage River Trail from Butterfield Road to the Illinois Prairie Path to increase the
Second.
funding in the amount of $126,429, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $1,626,429, an increase of 8.43%. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then finally, I move for approval of 242146. Again, an amendment, a local agency agreement between the County of
Second.
DuPage and the Illinois Department of Transportation for the East Branch DuPage River Trail to increase the county share in the amount of $126,429. I have a second. And any discussion about this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And next, we move on to our presentation of the 2025 Division of Transportation budget. Thank you. All right.
Okay, looks like we're up. Okay.
I thought Bill was leaving. Oh, he got Mr. Zay, okay. Thank you, Bill.
Wait, I get material on that.
So good morning again. We'd like to present the DOT recommended 2025 budget. This simply shows our major revenue sources. The DOT budget is made up of two primary sources, local gas tax and motor fuel tax. Both have increased as a result of Rebuild Illinois and continue to increase with the CPI. Impact fees, if you recall, last year, the board approved its repeal. However, we're obligated to spend down those balances. So you'll see that on here as well as various reimbursements and our RTA sales tax. But primarily local gas tax and motor fuel tax is the lion's share of our budget. Summary of our revenue. This is a comparison of the fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 projected budget or revenue, pardon me, excluding other government reimbursements, expected to be about $3.9 million. We expect about $1.2 million over FY24 in total revenue. Local gas tax and motor fuel tax are both relatively flat. IDOT is projecting a small decrease in revenue overall for motor fuel tax. That might be a result of transition in fleet and alternative vehicles and fuel efficiency. This summarizes our actual incurred annual costs in operating expenses from 19 to 23. Staffing levels have generally stabilized. Variability in directly related to snow and ice control, commodities, market conditions account for some of those variations. Going forward, this is a summary of operating expenses comparing fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 25. The core operating expenses exclude capital roadway projects. So the big jumps here, personnel, we're anticipating a 19% increase. This reflects an anticipated fiscal year 25 across the board cost of living adjustment and merit adjustments for our non-union staff. Also, our union contract is up for renewal. So we've included an anticipated 10% increase for our 76 union positions. We are also recommending an increase in headcount to add an assistant manager of highway operations to our maintenance staff to reflect an increase in our annual and multi-year programs. And we are also proposing a market adjustment for 2 of our administrative staff. We also have to account for new liability related to accrued benefits and being able to pay those out to staff as they desire. And then commodities accounts for a 3.8% increase, predominantly related to market forces. Our fiscal year 24 contractual numbers were higher than historical. We expect them to return to more traditional levels in the future. Non-roadway capital, much of this increase is carryover of previous items for the last couple of years, including $4.9 million in snow and ice plow trucks that were ordered in previous years and have not been delivered. So overall, the core operating expenses are projected to be about 12% higher than the fiscal year 24 budget. This slide is describing our county dollars available for capital projects and reflects our fund balance and all revenue. Less operations, which matches the previous slide for all non-roadway, less the capital maintenance contracts, our debt service, and less of capital carryovers from our 2024 encumbrances, leaving the bottom line there about $65 million for new capital improvement. So overall, we're anticipating FY25 budget to be $148.9 million. That's 45% or $46 million more than FY24. 29% of that, a little less than a third, is for operations. Capital improvements make up the other 106 million or 71%. So that increase, the 46 million more than 2024, is worth noting. It's due to an increase in available revenue and carryover of approximately $41 million from FY24 for projects not completed. Operations is the 29%. And capital is to plan, design, construct, and maintain our transportation network. A significant portion of that increase also relates to new construction of the DOT garage and offices. You can refer to the handouts at your seats for more details. At this time, I'd like to have Bill Edson, our county engineer, cover the capital program specifically.
Thanks, Steve. So the list here on this slide is the categories of projects that fall under the capital. Engineering kind of broadly covers feasibility studies, planning and environmental, and then the traditional engineering functions, design, preparing contract documents and construction oversight. We also have land acquisition, construction projects themselves, and participation agreements, which is tied in where if we get federal funding, IDOT becomes the awarding agency and we pay them rather than paying the contractor directly. So those all fall under the capital. We have a list here of proposed engineering projects that are anticipated to start in FY25 with this budget. A couple that I want to just point out here. One is the active transportation plan. This is phase 1 of kind of a 2-step project to evaluate sidewalk and trails throughout the entire county, not just DuPage county-owned facilities, but everything within the county. And includes public outreach and an assessment of the existing conditions. The other one on here I want to call attention to is Hinsdale Lakes Terrace, that is also known as Willowbrook Corners. Just recently went through a name change. But we've discussed this in the past, both at board and here at committee, that we're intending to install sidewalk and lighting and make some related improvements along 91st Street between Clarendon Hills Road and Illinois Route 83. And that's all in the area of the Ann M. Jean School. And we have some safe routes to school funding. There's been some money that was requested, or that the chair put toward it, that was requested to be used for this project as well. So we're still pursuing some other avenues, and we're working on a design consultant contract with that. But that's on here as well. And as you see, a number of these are listed as construction engineering. Those are going to match up with projects on the next slide. To the actual construction contracts that are new starts. Again, the carryover, we introduced last year, so we're not going to highlight those here, but these projects include 75th Street frontage roads and Woodridge was an area of frontage roads there that we're responsible for. We're working on an agreement with Woodridge to help us maintain them. As part of that, we're going to design and plan to construct a reconstruction of that road, the frontage roads. Bridges, we have two bridges here listed on the slide. Two of our bridges are under contract right now. Geneva Road Bridge, obviously has a detour in place, and then Warrenville Road Bridge is just about to start work. And that leaves us with Bloomingdale Road Bridge over this Canadian National Railway as our remaining load posted bridge. And Army Trail Road is over the west branch of the DuPage River, is the same vintage design. So we're trying to stay ahead of that one and get it replaced before it has to get load posted. Two facility improvements that are listed here again this year. As Steve mentioned, the highway maintenance building. We've got budgeted for FY25 for some of the costs, but it's listed here with the $60 million price tag. That is very much still in flux, and you will hear more about that at an upcoming board meeting, as there's still design considerations are being evaluated, and we're going to come to the board. Facilities is taking the lead on that project, and collectively we'll come to the board and get some guidance from the board. But for budgeting purposes, we have an initial $20 million in the budget, looking ahead to the out years as well to see where we can be on meeting that price tag. The fuel station also is past its useful life, and so it's listed on here. That's the facility across the street. We are waiting on final decisions about the highway maintenance building before we can move ahead with exactly what that fuel station solution looks like, but we hope to have that under construction in fiscal year 25. The last project I want to talk about is the Winfield Road side path. That's the one at the bottom of the list there. There's been some interest from folks to get a established sidewalk bike path facility along Winfield Road, basically from Route 38, Roosevelt Road, down to Mack Road, maybe from Cantini to Mack Road. It's part of what needs to be designed. We have the consultant looking at that right now. So the hope would be that we're able to get construction going on that in fiscal year 25. So we budgeted for that as well. So the next slide talks about equipment requests. And Steve mentioned the carryover. One of the big carryover items is the first item there, 16 plow trucks. We've pre-ordered, and we've asked the committee in the past for approval to do that. We've pre-ordered plows for fiscal year 23, 24, 25, and 26. None of them have arrived yet. So this is the carryover showing the 4.9 million that we are going to owe when those trucks arrive. So we're budgeting for that. We've got a number of other vehicle replacements listed here, some pickup trucks, some service trucks for our crews, a replacement street sweeper, a new semi-tractor, 4 administrative vehicles to replace vehicles that have had to come out of service for just age and condition. Vehicle lifts, a few of you have seen the work that's been going on over across the street. We're anticipating a partial carryover of that. It may get completed this year, but we've budgeted, assuming that we have to pay some of it and a significant portion of it in FY25. man lift, some more dump trucks, again, some carryover with that. The lift replacement cost for paying the installer, not just the lifts. And then the bottom line there, three trailers and 7 road maintenance equipment. So that includes, in case you're interested, if you really geek out on this stuff, a pavement saw, 2 infrared pavement reheaters, 2 aero boards, a compact excavator, a tack cart, and a track loader. So all your Tonka toys that you play with.
No track loader, forget.
So that is it for the equipment, and I will hand it back to Steve to talk about the 5-year.
So very briefly, we want to just share the 5-year look ahead for DOT. So this is a snapshot of the 5-year program. It's about $407 million. It's roughly 1/3 operating costs, 2/3 capital improvements. And what you'll see here in our last slide is a dramatic decrease regarding the capital program specifically. Versus the last slide, this compared to the last slide, this indicates a general decline after accounting for several expensive projects that Bill has articulated. The DOT building, York Road and the new tollway over by O'Hare is a $20 million project. Fabian Parkway reconstruction from Roosevelt Road over to Kane County line is another $20 million project. So as these projects move out of the program, you can see a decline in the capital improvements going through FY29, and that generally will correspond to the tailing off of the bipartisan infrastructure law and things like that.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Zay first, then you start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple. Any ETA on the plows?
Anything you heard, Mike?
So we're hoping to get the first batch of 8 this year before winter time. It might be beginning of winter, maybe December. What we're hoping for, everything's on schedule for those. The next batch we're looking for in 2026.
Okay.
So none next year.
No, next year.
Yeah.
So hopefully some this year and some the year after.
Our goal is to replace 4 trucks a year with the inability for the manufacturer to deliver trucks. We've come to the board twice and asked for early purchases because of the long wait times in getting the chassis.
So we're in the pipeline.
We're in the pipeline.
Second question, I know we'll have more discussion on the maintenance facility, but before that, we used to get like a report on the usefulness of our roads, where they're at. Obviously, 60 million will push some of that back. So I'd like to know where we're at on, maintaining, not just paving, but, rebuilding, restructuring and stuff like that. Because obviously that's gonna push those back a few years before we get to.
John's got all that data, so we'll get something summarized like what you've seen in the past. And I will say on that, the way, and part of the reason the next couple of years remain high and then they tail off, we do intend to keep our routine roadway maintenance program at the same level. So we're typically at about 10 million a year for resurfacing projects. There's other projects as well, but the resurfacing, we're going to try to maintain at 10 million while we work toward the building.
Great, thank you.
Okay, member to start.
Thank you. I remember because of the supply chain issues that we ordered those snow plows in advance. But I'm wondering, have we paid any of the $5 million at all? Or is it all due in 2025?
Yeah, we will, we'll pay for them once we receive delivery.
Oh, we didn't have to give any down payment at all?
No payment at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And secondly, regarding the Willowbrook Corner thing, that everybody still calls it Willowbrook Corners, I'm sorry what they do, like the Sears Tower. Anyway, my question is, I don't know if Jeremy's here, but I recall Representative Bill Foster had requested $250,000 to go to this project. You and I talked about that
That
before.
is, yeah.
I don't recall if he was successful in getting it for us.
We understand that we have 250,000
Okay,
coming
good.
from him. Yeah,
All right.
I don't think all the paperwork's come through where we actually have confirmation of how it's working, but that is the number we've been told,
Okay, great.
not just by you.
Okay, good.
And just to clarify, does that money, like the trail money, go through the state? Is that,
That, we believe so. That,
Okay.
we haven't, that's part of what we haven't received.
so IDOT is the
Official confirmation.
conduit to get it to
That
us?
would
And then
be
how
my
much
assumption.
is this project? So, I want to know how much the project is, then minus $250,000. How much
So,
was the project?
we don't know yet.
Okay.
And we've got the consultant we're hoping to have the consultant on board, in September or October. And then they're gonna help kind of scope out what the project is. There's a lot of different pieces. There's not a clearly defined project. We kind of have a starting point, but we still don't even know, we don't have a good sense of what that would really be.
But we're talking sidewalks and lights.
Sidewalk lighting and then there's got to be some drainage improvements made along, because there's a lot of open ditch sections out there. And so that's partly why we don't know what's involved. We don't know what the drainage impacts would be out there. We're thinking somewhere in the $1 million range, but we're not sure.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
But they've started the analysis or the
No,
inventory.
no, we're gonna come forward with a.
Oh, what's,
contract
okay, no, okay, got
To,
it.
to the committee and the board.
So then we need to start with an inventory.
Yeah.
Okay. Once we've got that, all right. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question about the fueling station. Is there going to be any kind of infrastructure for charging vehicles also at that fueling station?
So
Want to keep them away from the gas, but that's just me.
That's right. So the plan as we have it right now is not, to Mr. Zay's point, all kidding aside, the plan would not be to have charging stations at the fuel station. We're not involved with the charging infrastructure. That's, facilities is handling that.
I can actually talk about that a little bit. So first of all, the fueling station, we're trying to keep a very small, low profile for that. So we are absolutely separating out the charging stations on that. But we are moving forward in facilities. We have some good state and federal grants out there and internal money. We are adding charging facilities across the campus at key locations, but the fueling station will have no charging stations.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, pardon me. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Great presentation. Onward. Anything else? I'm sorry. Old business. Yeah, it was your sheet. Thank you. Old business. Okay, hearing none. Any new business? All right, I move to adjourn. Okay, thank you.